leatherette. Join the car crash set.
Drugs, we like them. Films, we love them. Put them together, Narco cinema. Narco cinema is a film genre coming out of Mexico, and it's just that. It's drugs meets films. The films have in them drug dealers, good cops, bad cops, cocaine, women, and trucks. Now, we didn't know that much about Narco cinema, and we didn't want to show up in Mexico not knowing anything about it, so we stopped off in North Austin, which is a big distribution point for Narco cinema in America, and we went to a video store there and tried to get a primer on what Narco cinema is all about. Okay, so first of all, what is Narco cinema?
It's exactly that. Drugs, cinema, and it kind of ties into what's going on in Mexico right now. You have a lot of drug cartels trying to take over the police departments and do this, that, and the other. So they're kind of making movies about that.
For example, Coca Inc.
So there you go.
And when you call Narco cinema also, it's called video home, or?
Yeah. In Mexico they call it video home.
Video home, because it goes straight to.
It goes straight to video. Yeah.
So is this kind of a B movie kind of?
This is basically considered a B movie, and basically the biggest difference, of course, you're talking budget.
And is there one sort of standout hit, sort of the biggest Narco cinema title?
Basically the ones that have like a number 5, and a number 6, and a number 7, the sequels.
So Dos Plebes.
Yeah, that's part 5.
That's a big one.
That's a big one.
That's a franchise.
That's a franchise movie. Yeah.
That's Mission Impossible.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Anything with any type of a truck.
So the trucks are a big deal.
The trucks are a big deal. Yeah, I'm sure it's
La Hummer naked, the black Hummer.
Yeah.
So here we have kind of a classic. This is actually the one that started the whole truck themes. La Camioneta Gris, the gray truck. And now, of course, we go on to La Ram Blanca, La Hummer Negra, La Durango Roja. Now we have all the different trucks. So hyper-violent, sexy, drug dealers, bad cops, and trucks. Narco cinema.
Narco cinema.
We're here in the Zocalo, the main square in Mexico City. We're here because we're fascinated with Mexico, and we're fascinated with drugs. Vice is all about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And there's a lot of drugs around. Mexico produces the majority of the marijuana that comes into the States. The majority of meth in America is being made in Mexico. The majority of poppy that comes into the States from the South and all of its derivatives. And it's the main superhighway of coke. It's about a $100 billion business a year here, and 30% of that money is estimated to go into paying off the government and the police. Drugs, as a culture, have permeated every facet of Mexican society, where they'll have their own patron saints for drug trafficking, and then we have Narco Corridos, which is songs about being a drug trafficker, and they'll have movies, Narco Cinema, which we're going to check out, and we're going to get on the set, we're going to check out the guns, helicopters, we're going to shoot some people, and we're going to get involved as deeply as we can into the drug culture in Mexico. We're at about 10,000 feet now in a mountain pass. We're going 2 hours south of Mexico City to Cuernavaca, where we're going to meet Mario Almada. Mario Almada is 86 years old, and he starred in more films than any other person alive today.
Con qué viejo, no?
Most of them are Narco Cinema films, so we're going to ask him about Narco Cinema, how it gets funded, what they're about, how they get made. He's written them, he's directed them, he's starred in them, and although he's 86, he's still making them. He's kind of like the John Wayne of Mexico. Last night we tried the Narco. Ouch. Today we're going to try the cinema, put them together, Narco Cinema.
Can you tell us exactly how many films you've worked on?
De 35 milímetros, encabezando reparto estelares, más de 300. De 35 de estos videos, ni los cuento, tengo más de 1000, yo creo que... Esta película la hice en Durango, se llama Cabalgando con la Muerte. Tuvo mucho éxito, muy bonita película. Este es de Los Desalmados, película que hice en Brownsville, Texas, hace muchos años. Ahí está Pistoleros Famosos, con Fernando, mi hermano. Esta es mi primera película, Todo por Nada. Me gané la Diosa de Plata como la revelación del año. Y esta es el Ranger 2, la última misión, muy buena película. Esa la dirigió, la produjo mi hijo Marcos. Ojalá hubiera sido una serie de estas.
And do you usually play the good guy or the bad guy?
Pues casi siempre, pues ya sabes, héroe, ¿no? Un justiciero, un policía, un comandante, un sheriff. He hecho curas, he hecho de todo, menos de joto, así no. Porque no me la creen, además. Y siempre hemos ido contra los narcos y contra la violencia, siempre. Porque hemos sido autoridad. Hicimos una, la de la banda del Carro Rojo. Fue la única que hemos sido narcotraficantes.
So we left Senior Almada and headed back to Mexico City, where we really wanted to meet Jorge Reynoso. Now, Jorge Reynoso is another big star of narco cinema who's acted in 500-plus films. But unlike Almada, who plays the good guy, Reynoso always plays the badass. And we caught up to him when he was editing his latest film.
Las películas de acción que ahora hacemos, que van de acuerdo a los noticieros, lo que es el cine de mafia, pues yo lo inicié. A mí inclusive la gente me conoce como el señor de las pistolas porque he matado mucha gente, ¿no?, en las películas. Entonces yo de todas mis películas, pues la mayoría son películas de mafia, que la mayoría de la gente que vive nuestra raza en Estados Unidos las acepta muy bien porque se identifican con estos personajes que también son muy respetados y que son muy queridos en los pueblos y en los corridos y las bandas y los grupos.
So you're saying that Mexicans celebrate their drug dealers?
Pasa que los narcotraficantes en México son gentes del campo, son gentes que surgen de una pobreza, y cuando logran colocarse, pues obviamente hacen por su pueblo mejoras y la gente obviamente los quiere.
Now, I've heard that actually some of these movies are financed by...
Por narcos. Pues sí, puede ser que sí. Yo pues nunca me puse a investigar ni... Yo tengo muchos amigos, dos productores con cadenas y brillantes, pero no me metí a averiguar si eran o no eran, porque eran buenas gentes, buenas personas.
Yo he tenido la oportunidad de conocer a varios de ellos. Inclusive hemos hecho películas muy importantes a estos personajes donde han participado, han estado con nosotros. Y obviamente pues nunca fui dedo, por eso sigo vivo, nunca traicioné a nadie ni la confianza de ninguno de ellos, que siempre nos brindaron una amistad, nos la siguen brindando. Yo la primera película de mafia grande que hice se llamó La Mafia Tiembla. Una película hecha a Rafael Caro Quintero, que fue un narcotraficante muy importante en México.
Caro Quintero, por ejemplo, era un hombre simpático, un hombre espléndido, un hombre que hizo mucho, que hizo escuelas. Hicimos la Operación Marihuana, que fue el inicio de Caro Quintero, cuando tenía sembrado todo el... Y un hombre simpático y bueno, yo lo traté.
It was interesting to hear them talk about Caro Quintero, who in the 80s was one of the biggest drug dealers in Mexico, if not the world. In fact, he was so big that when they caught him, he offered to pay off the sum total of Mexicans' foreign debt if they let him go. They didn't let him go, and he's still in jail. Caro Quintero is a perfect example of the dichotomy that is narco cinema. Because on one side, they're making movies about him and celebrating him. On the other hand, he's a criminal who actually killed DEA agents and police and everybody else. And today, that's really evident because
The drug wars that are going on there, the narco wars,
are out of control. I mean, when we were down there in Mexico, every day on the news you hear about tortures and beheadings and killings and corruption.
So not only are the cartels now warring with each other, there's a new government in that are trying to fight the corruption within its own government. This started sort of more violence. The cartels were fighting the government were fighting the cartels were fighting each other. So every day now there's killings and it's getting worse and worse and worse.
In fact, 2008 was the worst year for violent crime in Mexican history. With 5,600 narco-related murders last year alone, the situation is totally fucked up. From the 1930s to the 1960s, Mexican cinema sort of mirrored what was going on in American cinema. It was a golden age, everything shot in black and white, everyone went to the theater. But then right around the 60s and 70s, they started making more B-movies, more campy stuff. El Santo, who's a very famous wrestler, started starring in these movies, and they were sort of about wrestling, and then people from outer space, and then all kinds of stuff. And along with the wrestling science fiction movies, there were the sexy comedies, which were kind of ribald romps through the dancing whorehouses of Mexico. And then in the 80s, there was a split between New Mexican cinema, like Water for Chocolate, for example, and video home or narco cinema, which became increasingly about action, guns, trucks, cars, helicopters, explosions, women, and drugs. In fact, narco cinema is probably watched by more people than the standard or status quo filmmaking that everybody knows, like Y Tu Mama Tambien or Amores Perros, because a lot of people can't afford to go see films in the theater. So what percentage of the population can actually afford to go see films in Mexico?
Un 18% de la población asiste a ver las películas y está marginada el 82% de los que no tienen poder adquisitivo.
So more people are seeing this subcultural cinema based on drug lore than are actually going to see movies in the theaters. So we became fascinated by it. At this point, all I could think about was, how do we get into one of these movies?
Ooh, we should get outfits. We should really get outfits. If you wore those blue ones, would you be considered kind of a pussy or a badass? Por favor, ¿cuánto esta?
I gotta get an outfit to be in the narco cinema. You know, I wanna be in the movies. So I'm gonna try to fit in.
This is a good one.
It's fake, right?
It's a python. This is ostrich stomach.
So who buys elephant skin boots or manta ray belts?
Normalmente gente con dinero como diputados, trabajadores de Pemex, narcos, gente así.
How am I doing? I think I'm fitting in. We're gonna go check out some Narco Corridos right now. I'm gonna try to fit in with them. Maybe get a song about me, and then try to get in a movie. So this is kind of like the hooker's walk, but instead of whores up and down the street, it's mariachis. And they'll run up to your car and they'll play a little quick lick for you on the guitar, and you'll go hire them for your party or for whatever you want to do with them, actually. We're gonna see if we can get some narco corridos to sing about El Gallo Más Peligroso, El Jefe, Shane.
Sonó una metralla que a los dos les dieron muerte.
So I'm asking, what's a narco corrido? Well, a corrido is a song originally from the Mexican Revolution, but now a narco corrido is a song about drug dealing. And what happens is if you're a big drug dealer, you go across the border with 100 keys, you come back and get a song written about you saying, I'm the best drug dealer in town, man. My name is El Jefe Shane. So we're gonna hear some now, and I'm gonna get drunk.
Sí, hay mucho corrido. Un montón de personajes que han sido muy famosos, bandidos, y les hacen un corrido. Y ese corrido se hace la película, con mucho éxito siempre, porque es un corrido conocido, ¿no? Como la banda El Carro Rojo. Ese corrido fue muy famoso. Es un corrido que popularizaron los Tigres del Norte. Es la historia de 4 amigos que los matan. Traían 100 kilos de coca en las llantas. Y de ahí salió la película.
Vamos a pasar 100 kilos de la grande.
Ahí sale todo, desmontamos la llanza.
La canción pues te da el argumento de la película y tú ya vas adaptando. Claro que tienes que pedir permisos y tienes que tener relaciones con esta gente para que no tengas problemas, ¿no? Porque también si tú haces algún cambio dentro de la historia que no les guste a ellos, pues tendrías problemas.
¿Se acabó el problema?
Bendito Dios, hasta ahorita hemos hecho las cosas como tienen que ser.
It may seem like Jorge is making it sound a lot more dangerous than it actually is, but in fact, in the past 3 years, there's been 25 violent killings of musicians, most of which have been attributed to drug cartels, killing them for singing in the wrong territory or for singing about the wrong person. Now, the most successful narco cinema film of all time, or the one that made the most money, is called Chrysler 300. And of course, it's based on a very popular narco corrido. And what we found out there was, yes, these films are incredibly popular in video home in Mexico, but where they make the most money is in America. In fact, Chrysler 300 made all its money from selling in Walmart in the States. So we called the guys from Chrysler 300 and they said, hey, we're actually filming parts 2 and 3 in Tijuana right now. Do you want to come down and would you like to be in the movie? And we said, yes, please.
Tijuana sound like you. Sound like you.
Now, most people think that Cinco de Mayo is the big party night in Mexico. Nothing can be further from the truth. In fact, the real party night is the celebration of the independence from Spain, which is on September the 16th. We arrived in TJ on September 16th, and TJ was in full swing. I mean, it was party, it was crazy, it was food and booze and music everywhere. But while we were partying in TJ, we heard that in Morelia, another town in Mexico, that the Zetas, who are actually the army of the Gulf Cartel, had just started lobbing grenades into the crowd during Independence Day celebration, and they killed 8 people and injured hundreds. So this is the type of atmosphere: party, fear, tension, as we arrive to shoot parts 2 and 3 of Chrysler 300.
Tijuana sound machine. Sound machine. Sound machine.
So we're here in Tijuana, the epicenter of narco cinema. We're going to be shooting tonight. We're going to be getting in some trouble. We're in front of a whorehouse. Narco cinema. Our man in Tijuana was actually one of the biggest directors in the video home industry. His name is Enrique Murillo.
Hi. Y estoy filmando actualmente 2 películas, la segunda y tercera parte de una película que se llama El Chrysler 300, el corrido de Chuy y Mauricio, que trata de un par de aventureros relacionados un poquito con el tema del narcotráfico. En la primera parte, una dama mataba a los 2 amigos en un carro, Chrysler 300, de ahí viene el nombre de la película. Y esta segunda y tercera parte narra del hermano de uno de ellos que sigue con la venganza de su hermano. Esas 2 películas que estoy haciendo son mis películas 112 y 113.
I think the best thing about being involved in a narco cinema film is realizing how much fun they are to make. They write their scripts on the fly. They shoot the whole thing in a couple weeks, so it's just bang, 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 bang. The locations are all real. If you want to shoot in a whorehouse, you go to a whorehouse. If you want to shoot in a cop shop, you go to a cop shop. So, are you guys real cops, or?
I have a security company, and this is the reason we can provide all these gadgets.
So you have a security business,
right?
And on the side, acting, action.
Yeah.
Los guiones se diseñan para que participe toda esta gente, ¿no? Por ejemplo, las table danceras que son increíbles con nosotros, unas chavas padrísimas. Los guardias, la seguridad, la policía, los borrachitos, los matones, toda la gente que anda en ese tipo de arrabal siempre participa con nosotros. O sea, lo que ves es lo que hay. La prostituta lo es, el policía lo es y el narco ahí está.
You know, they'll take anybody. They took our cameraman who ended up getting shot, and the director's like, oh, he died so well. He was such a good actor. They took Santi, our producer, and put him in the film as well.
Vámonos, mueve, a la cárcel.
And action.
Sí, los costos hablábamos entre 40 y 50 mil dólares, más o menos una película bien hecha. Nosotros mandamos a hacer el guión se hace en 3 o 4 días, hay escritores muy buenos mexicanos. En semana y media yo ya tengo lista la película, la preproducción. Y de ahí nos vamos, hacemos 2 semanas de rodaje. En 5 semanas ya tienes la película en la venta. Yo he llegado a hacer 26 películas en un año.
En esta clase de presupuesto que estoy manejando, estamos manejando aproximadamente 4 semanas de filmación.
¿Para 2 películas?
Para 2 películas.
¿De 90 minutos?
De 90 minutos. Eso quiere decir que tenemos que ir rapidísimamente con la filmación, porque si no, no terminamos en presupuesto y en tiempo.
The shooting of a narco cinema film is sort of an exercise in logic.
It's like, hey, we want to have a gun scene where this guy gets shot. Okay, well, shoot him. Just shoot him with a paintball full of red ink. Okay, great. So they shoot him with a blank. Bang, they shoot him at the same time with a paintball gun. Boom, he's shot. Bang, on to the next shot. And it costs you about $10.
It's kind of genius. And when we were watching them shoot this film, we kept on thinking, look at Hollywood with its 2-year-long shoots and its $100 million budgets and its special effects and CGI. You can go out and shoot a film in 2 weeks, and it kind of looks great. So they took us to a garbage dump in 40-degree heat in one of the poorest neighborhoods of Tijuana, where I waited all day to get shot. And just as my scene was coming up, the director comes and says, Shane, we have to go, we have to get to the whorehouse. So they take us to the cat house, but they haven't hired any actresses to play the horse. No problem, they just go inside, say, hey, come out, you want to be in a movie? Give them $100 or whatever. We start shooting.
Aquí está la chica, mira, mira qué guapa.
Hi. Shane. Menus. Con mucho gusto.
Actually, being in the film was quite funny because they move so fast. It's just like, you're an American cowboy, you're pissed off, you come out of here, do it on 3, go. And you kind of feel like Brando. You're like, well, what's my emotion? What's my range? What's my motivation? But actually, you don't know what the hell you're doing, and you're just trying to hit your mark on time while the gun's hit your face.
37-1, toma 1.
¡Acción!
Hey! What the fuck is going on?
Pinche vaquero, pásale.
Whoa, no problema, man. By the time the guns get into your face and you're out of the scene, you're kind of like, glad we got through that. Didn't show my acting skills very much, but it was a hell of a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
buddy.
my friend. It's a pleasure. My pleasure.
It's my pleasure. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Okay, thank you.
So that's our Narco cinema wrapped. We got to go back to the States now.
So we had a lot of fun making the Narco cinema film. But on the flight back, we read that 40 people had been killed in Tijuana that week alone, and it kind of sobered us. And we thought, well, as long as there's a huge demand for drugs in America, there's going to be blood, drugs, and these kind of movies flowing out of Mexico.